Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from the Keshe Foundation Spiritual Institute. And as usual, we welcome you back and let's see what we can share today and what we have learned from the cycle of life on this planet that we can expand on. When you listen to the intro, it brings out a new dimension of understanding. It brings out in how we have understood the cycle of life, how we have joined together in a dimension of the creation without knowing. And we change to different dimensions, to different characteristics according to the line of connection to the universe. In a way, if one understands and one comprehends the totality, one will see that to live, to exist anywhere in the universe, be it this on this planet, be it in the space, to manifest itself in a combination of tangible and non-tangible existence, but containing continuity of life, one will come to understand one needs different dimensions of connection, as we have talked about before. Carbon 12 is what we call as an energy pack, is for life existing, connected in a common denominator to what we call cosmic rays, which usually work on the back of the carbon 14. But in a way, if you understand it, as we spoke last week and we showed some explanation and figures last week, the common denominator, what we call the DC line, stays on the hydrogen. The carbon characteristics is overloaded on this common denominator. So when you come into the matter state, life state on this planet, you get a deviation or division or isotopes of plasma energy, not matter state energy, of carbon, that it connects you to the source, but it connects you to the matter state which is carried by the carbon. In a way, if you would have understood, and this is for the scientists who understand or come to understand this technology in the laboratories of the Keshe Foundation in the future, is you have that common denominator hydrogen, which connects us to the creator and the creation. And then we are overloaded on top of that with matter state energy plasma at the time, place and point, which means we travel on the carbon 12 on the atmospheric condition, gravitational condition of this planet. But on another planet, another position, we get a conversion of the carbon which comes to be an energy level, what we call as a radiation of carbon 14, to become matter state in that position. What this means is that in the universe, once the line of common denominator is established and then overloaded by the energy fields, which is the deviation according to interaction of the fields of the environment, then that environment dictates how carbon 14, as what we call cosmic ray, is converted into that matter in interaction with the field, gravitational magnetic fields of the space, time and position, which leads to the condition of creation of new life in that position. This is important for our knowledge seekers to understand, and the scientists who work in the space technology of the future. what this means, if you want to travel from Earth to another system, another planet, you travel on the common denominator of hydrogen with overload of the amino acid carbon connection of the man to the conversion of magnetic fields in a way of gravitational magnetical field of the position that allows you to manifest yourself in that time, space, and position. Which means if you land in a place that there is no carbon, it doesn't mean you cannot exist. When man understands this, when the scientists can go through this conversion, so when we send the man to space, we send the man with the amino acid of the earth to space, plus the conversion to the time and place and position. So in a way, let's say you have Mr. Cohen, and in that position, carbon 14 in conversion by reflection of the carbon 60 of the what we call universal strength can convert to be potassium. So you actually have Mr. Cohen plus potassium, plasmatic magnetic fields. And this allows you to create a new, what we call, as you like it, hemoglobin, that man can survive in that place and position and can react and live the position and time and space. We know this knowledge. We know this technology. We see it on a daily basis, but we never understood this. If you look at what we call the plants, which eat flies, which eat live animals, they trap them in and then digest them. They go through this process because once the clap are closed with a fly inside it, now is not any more atmospheric condition, is the plasmatic condition of the two surfaces which they have trapped the animal in. It's like the jaw of the man when he closes, when you close, you put a banana in your mouth and you close your mouth, that banana is not a banana plasmatic condition anymore, even if it looks as a banana in your mouth. So if you understand this, man will learn from these plants, man will learn the cosmetic condition and universal condition and cosmic ray condition of the conversion into existing two dimension in space that allows the soul of the man, when returns back to earth condition, to go back on carbon 12 amino acid, look like a man, hemoglobin, and the structure of the man. Then you understand. We call it the amino acid. But the amino acid strength of the hemoglobin is different than amino acid of the plant. It's different than amino acid which created the stone. Then man has to find out how to create the same amino acid combination of Mr. Cohen, that they can coexist, live within each other and through each other. What this means? It means when I put you in a system with your beautiful dress, you're going to a wedding from London to New York, and you happen to be hungry, or you carry an apple in your handbag or a banana just in case you go hungry, I have to transfer your amino acid of your human flesh. I have to transfer the amino acid of the apple or a banana, and I have to transfer the amino acid of the clothes you wear. If you cannot get this right, we have a beautiful woman in birthday suits in New York with no food to eat. because we forgot to transfer the handbag. We did not understand the concept. And this is why many of you knowledge seekers who've been with us cannot manifest yourself. Because we never allowed, we never built this into our systems, even though we know about it for decades. With a new system, which is developed with the Keshe Foundation, all these matters now is complete. Which means in the coming time, when we put you through these tests, like those of you who join us tomorrow, not only you'll be able to transmute in the dimension of energy of the soul, you can transfer the plasmatic condition of the amino acid of the content of your body. In a way, you just had a beautiful steak in London and, sorry, we forgot to carry the steak. You arrive in New York and you're hungry because we didn't have the right combination of the mustard and the chips you had with the food in London. Because there is amino acid of vegetation inside, different than the amino acid of the body. This implication, understanding of this science, it needs to be unraveled, it needs to be understood. And the prime position to understand this for the scientist is in the stomach of the man, the same as that plant which closes. How we convert the amino acids of different structures into what we call energies of the body of the man. How do we convert the potassium or calcium or magnesium tablets, which is in a solid state, into your body, and then you take the energy of it? Our body does this transmutation of the energies automatically, but we never understood, and we just do as we done. Ignorance is a bliss. Now that we have entered the science of transmutation, energy transfer, we have to understand. Otherwise, unfortunately, you don't want a bride to turn up in a wedding from another planet naked because you forgot to add the amino acid of the position, connection of the time and the space and manifestation. You got to understand, as I said, you have not even entered standing up, let alone walking on the steps of the knowledge of the universe, which is thousands of steps. Now you understand why many of you, all of you, being there, you went to the moon, but you can't give yourself physical manifestation. Because in the structure of the technology, even though I thought this 4 or 5 years ago, and it's recorded in knowledge seekers, you have pictures of it, you never understood. And now in the new development, new technologies, we have brought this into operation, because now our knowledge seekers can understand what it means, what it implements. Where we have to, the next step is to find the condition of the gaseous amino acid, which this is another problem. Then you have to understand, you talk about it, but you don't understand it, or many scientists will talk about it, never understand it, is what is the game of carbon-60? Why do we have this crystal structure? What is the purpose of it in the universe? If you really want to understand what carbon-60 is, look at your skin. And look where on your skin you see a 5-sided hexagonal shape. Then you understand that cell, that piece of skin, is part of the structure of the carbon 60, which allows you to be connected into universal magnetic fields, to be contained in this universe. In the future, man even has to understand how to break out of this crystal structure to be able to travel into another dimension, in another universe. Carbon 60 is very simple. It's 5 times 12, which is carbon 12. Then you understand, in so many ways, why you need this. If you don't understand this, go and get yourself a leather football. Old leather footballs, or the new leather footballs. You look how many six-sided shapes you have, and then you look one or two five-sided are in that sphere. Without that five-sided, the shape, the structure of the plasma will not hold. You cannot put a six-sided structure in. Now you understand how the universe works. You want to get to the skin of, to the boundary of this universe, to travel into the other, you have to find that five-sided. That's your line of connection, because that structure, that point, that spot on the universe is common amongst all the universes. This is your, what I call, connection line between universes. Even the fields of the common denominator to the creator goes through this. Now, you as knowledge seekers who are still struggling with your magrabs, try to understand this problem. In the scientific structure, we are building this up. And as I said many times, just because you carry a mobile phone and you speak your funny languages on it, and the other side put the translator and gets translated to, you don't need to know how the mobile phone and the translator was built. And those who understand it, they value it, they will understand what to do with it. It's very much like early 2010, 2004, 2003, 2005, Belgium came out with the automatic translator. The king of Belgium wanted to steal this because they understood it. They mocked the guy and they stole the technology. They put a play recorder under the table and said, oh, he's just using a play recorder. And they stole the technology. This is a habit of the Belgians. And now we see what was brought in years earlier, now is a common use with all of us on our mobile phone. We can translate to the word, to the voice, to the image. Just because you don't understand it, it doesn't mean it cannot be done. But those of you knowledge seekers who are in a magrab and against game, and you're still busy with it, try to understand, try to interact with the, what I call carbon 60. How you produce it, and how through this carbon 60 you can find common denominator amino acid of all the structures of the universe and unicos. If you don't do, it'll come to your peril. You will lose everything in the universe because you cannot convert. You'll be those souls who are lost in space. You'll become the ghost of the universe, because you cannot give yourself the dimension of physicality manifestation at the time, place and point in space. Those of you who go with us through the session tomorrow, for the first time, you will have access to what are called universal amino acid condition, which means gradually in a coming time, you can give yourself physicality of manifestation at the point, time, and place if you can replicate it. As I said, those of you who join us in these monthly sessions, we are preparing you for what we call transmutation in a full meaning way. In developing these technologies, you have to understand, we have to protect you. We have to bring conditions in that it works, it develops to a fruitful condition of the transmutation. Many of you who have this problem with too much physicality, and you cannot go, you cannot feel, I don't know what happened, did I feel anything? Even while your thinking is part of the process of transmutation, but you so much want to be controlled that you don't even understand your thinking is in transmutation level. Then you come to understand the dimension of manifestation and physicality. In the process of the creation, in the process of development of this technology, we explain everything. And in the time to come, the scientists who understand this will come to benefit by it, will come to develop technologies which can mature to science and technologies that will help man to go another step. But in these teachings of past decades, we setting the base, the basic knowledge for you, and at the same time we add to it that one day somebody somewhere on this planet or somewhere else will use it to mutate the knowledge of the universe to the benefit of its citizens. Now you have to understand how to produce carbon 60, how to produce carbon 14, how to produce carbon 28, how to produce carbon 30, how to produce carbon 12, and how to produce carbon in the level of 4. Now you understand. When you go back to the original patterns of the Keshe Foundation, when I speak about inert gases and the game they play in creation of ionization, in creation of what we call creating conditions of the cosmic radiation and not cosmic rays, and not cosmic fields. Now, if you understood this, if as knowledge seekers you understand the totality of what has been discussed in past few minutes, you understand, all of you as knowledge seekers gradually are moving towards a full transmutation. But our scientists have to understand, our scientists have to implement, our scientists have to bring about the condition of creation of the carbon 14 and 60 that in the structure of the body of the system, we replicate the structure of body of your skin. And get a microscope, get a lens, and look at your skin. See where you find a perfect 5-sided structure. And that is the point of your connection to universal energy. In the future, scientists will use this to create the point of transmutation through universes. Every creature, dimension of physicality or energy, contains this, even in the shape of a plasma. You have to be able to create the 4 dimensions of the amino acid to be able to survive the universe. to be able to live. Earth as a gas, as a solid, as a liquid, and it's got living condition. So it's the same with every structure in the universe. And the man has to understand this knowledge fully before it transmutes. This knowledge is embedded within the soul of the man, not in the DNA of the man. And DNA, according to the structure of the RNA, to the universal knowledge, creates that little five-sided hexagon on your skin, the same as a football. Football, you might need a couple of them on the skin of the man, because the curvature and the field forces to be sustained, you have many of them. Now you understand how much more you need to understand. And now you understand how close we are bringing you to a full transmutation. In the next few weeks, I will ask you to submit a picture to the Keshe Foundation live online. It could be your uncle, it could be the president of a nation, it could be a dog, a cat. In your presence will manifest that entity in a time, place, and a position which you agree. You haven't seen your mother for 20 years. She's in Australia and you're in the United States. With a picture of the man, we can even now transmute the man. It's very easy. If it looks like magic to you, understand the science of it. Once the image is created, energies of the dimension of connection has created. And we don't need to do it anymore. Then you understand when I explained to you many years ago, I'll bring you the cries for you to see. We don't need the image. The thought, understanding of the history book of the man will give us that connection through emotion and intention, as each have their own strength. Now you understand how much more as knowledge seekers you have to move on. You're just like a flock of ducks trying to escape, and I have to herd you in. There's only one hole to go out. And that's a hole of knowledge of the creation. And we cannot force feed you. You have to do it on your own, by elevating your soul, by understanding the knowledge of this is not a Chinese duck farm which there is a hole and the guy grabs the neck of whatever it sticks out and puts a pipe in it and force feed it and release it till it goes on the other side of the wall and pull it out again when it's feeding next time. You got to understand, for completion of the science of transmutation, you as knowledge seekers have to understand the whole process of the creation. The whole process of understanding the process of creation. And you don't need a lifetime. You can access this if you understand and apply it within seconds. You call it the enlightenment. I call it the knowledge of the universe become available to you. Does not need you to head bang on the floor 17 times a day or go to the great ball and bang your head against the wall. All it needs is clarity of soul, clarity of understanding the knowledge of the creation, and no one can give you this in the name of the Prophet, Ayatollahs, and the rest, except yourself, in understanding, enlightening yourself to the energy fields of the universe by yourself, and how to use it. You do not need to go through the pain channel because it'll never bring you anywhere. You have to go through the pleasure channel, which by pleasure is by giving, by loving, which opens the other doors of the knowledge to you. Now you understand why I keep on telling you, teach the technology. As you teach, you'll empty the cup and it gets filled up with the new knowledge that takes you one step further. And the minute you start abusing that, you go back to the beginning, but you still think you understood a lot, but in fact you are still galloping in the, what I'll call the puddle of dirt you created for yourself through arrogance of the knowledge which you never understood. You have to understand the structure of the creation. You have to understand the structure of the existence. You have to understand how things are applied and to where and who and what they're applied. How do you convert a plasma into matter state, and how you convert matter state into plasma? It's not done by salt and vinegar and sugar. It comes by understanding the science of creation. And more or less, in the past 10 years, I have taught you the full knowledge. You have to go and pick it up and apply it. Pick it up and reproduce it. And all these plasma systems and maglev systems have blocked you from understanding the totality of the creation. When you produce a gas within dimension, what is for? What does it create? Where does it connect me to? Do I need it and how do I need it? When you create the amino acid, in what you are connected, when I come to another position, there is no nitrogen on this planet. So I have to keep the amino acid of me, but here is potassium. So I change, I still keep possibility of the hydrogen and the carbon which connects me to the universe in the dimension of the energy, and that energy of the conversion, nitrogen becomes potassium. Possibility, you will look a little bit green. So on this planet, we all have brownish conversion of the skin due to the potassium. You have different green condition, most probably. And then if you go to levels of the, what I call plutonium and uranium, you look a little bit more silverish. And more or less, when man becomes visually expert, you can see by the color of the skin, even if they look like a man, uh-oh, these people carry the fingerprint of another condition in the universe. In a way, you cannot hide the field strength combination of that five-sided cell. Is a peeping hole into the condition of existence. If you understand this process, and if you understand how to achieve the combination of this process, creation of the plasma in a dimension of universal condition becomes a child's play. And if you don't, you're still playing with the children toys, which is a maglev. Now you have to extend the knowledge. You have to sit down and analyze what you have missed. In the session tomorrow, Many of you will go through new experiences. Many of you will experience new dimensions. Some of you might go to the level of conversion into the transmutation and see yourself, physically touch yourself, but don't know where you are. Then you have to analyze. You have to find out how you take the situation back. We sit in the background, we create the environment. You are the dancers, we create the floor. One of you like to dance Greek, and one of you like to learn Arabic, and the other one goes to disco in New York. Shake and shiver the way you like. It's important for you to understand this and not for us to force feed and force create. It's important for you to understand how to create the carbon connection with the dimension of the strength of the fields of the place, time, and position. And if you understood this, you will understand why you, man, changes appearance as it lives in different part of this planet. As the connection conversion of the carbon-14 in connection with the space, time, and area has a different strength, and the combination of the two creates a new dimension for the amino acid isotope structure, which gives you narrower eyes, darker skin, lighter eyes, and everything else. Now you understand even how you are, in a way, mutating. If you understand this scientifically, now you understand how man has mutated to so many races, colors, and everything else. A black man moves from East Africa on a boat, ends up in a place called Australia, and his feature changes. A black man goes walking down the river of what I call centuries, and ends up in Europe, and it comes blue eyes and blonde. It's the interaction of the carbon 14 of the body of the man, containment of the carbon 60, communication line of the physical condition of carbon 12 of the physical body of the man, with the same as what Earth planet has, is carbon 14 connection to his solar system, carbon 12 of the matter state condition of his existence, and carbon 60 of the containment of the place, time, and position of the solar system, the planet, and the man itself. Now you understand how you meet it. And now you understand when I tell you go from Africa as an African and you end up in Finland and you got these blue eyes and blonde hair and white skin. What happened? If you travel in the dimension of the soul, this is inevitable. When you travel in the dimension of physicality on a first class seat on the Airbus, you're still the same monkey coming out of one door because you moved the physicality, you didn't move the soul. I wonder when in the future man will test this, will send as part of energy of himself in a dimension of the physical condition by the aircraft to Finland, and then the other parts in dimension of the soul arrives and wait the other one to arrive and see, this is me and this is me. One came to dimension of the transfer and one came through dimension of the transmutation. Then your problem is How do you fit one in the other? It'll be interesting how in the future, when we come to understand the condition of the transmutation, how our beautiful people will look. One will be black, one will be white, one will be blonde, and one will be brown, because the dimension of the soul interaction with its environment manifests the physicality which satisfies both emotion of the souls. Now you understand how sweet the life of man becomes, and with all these to explore, how man will forget about the wars and conflicts, because this game is a better magician. As I said before, and I repeat it till some of you, or most of you understand, you have no choice. And in a way, one way or another, there is a force behind you which pushes you to go through that hole. You might try all to go one by one and get caught on the other side by the neck, or you totally understand the world does not exist as you travel through the dimension of the soul, and no one to catch you on the other side. And then you understand how some of you can walk through the walls as you transfer through the energy transfer, not the physical dimension. You get a bruise and a bang head and broken arms as you're trying to go through something which the matter state does not allow you. And in a coming time, as you become experts, you'll find out you can walk through any walls, any mountains, and anything you like. This knowledge will come into test from tomorrow, in the first phase of it. In that process, many of you should be able, gradually in time, to transmute. Transmutation on this earth is very simple, because you are a man, you end up as a man, maybe as a dog, and say, oh, I was a man on the other planet. On the way you played a little bit, you change the energy, you end up with the amino acid of a dog, but you'll be able to talk and tell people who you are. The problem will come for you when we transmute the first couple to the moon, where we have to go through the dimension of carbon 14 and carbon 60 transmutation, the universal line of connection. On earth, you're all within the grasp of the gravitational magnetic field of the womb of the village of earth. Outside this planet, you are not. And that's why you understand we separated transmutation and those who become the people who transfer across. I explained this to you in the past couple of teachings, where inside the plasma of the earth we are all flatliners. When I put you outside, you are two flatliners, one of the flatline plasma of the earth, and now one of the plasma line of the solar system. And these two, when they interact, will create a new sinusoidal shape of the fields, let's say. And then we have to understand how that interacts with the plasma flatline of the moon, and then you arrive in one piece. In so many ways. Creation of the field, manipulation of the fields, structuring the fields, holding to the fields you want, making the fields you don't need to make what you need, it becomes a game that many of you will start in the coming time. And don't take it that it happened accidentally. You've done it purposely because you went for it. And this is what will bring you to understand the totality. This is what will bring you to understand the structure, to understand the possibilities, to understand how you have to behave. And it brings you a new behavior. And it brings you to a position that you understand I have to handle two things at the same time, and that is important. What is important and what will come to part of our work in understanding the totality is how we progress. To this point, how we come to pass the totality of understanding of the knowledge of creation. What is the consequences of our action in the soul dimension and in matter condition, or what we call the state of physicality of the man. In the coming days, in the coming weeks, we expand this knowledge as our knowledge seekers understand, and systems and technologies are developed for it. You got to realize how to merge the knowledge of physicality with the knowledge of plasma energy, and how to separate, and how the dimension of physicality has to go into the dimension of flatline, and how you carry that information within this plasma light. To what extent we will go through this, to what extent we will understand this, and how fast you can transfer this knowledge to the others. As I said many times, I'll bring you a drop of water that when it falls in another water will create that fish. In fact, that drop is your soul, and the other water is a plasma field of the universe. What kind of fish you'll come out of in that new environment? Would you be a shark or goldfish? Would you turn out to be an octopus, or would you turn up to be a whale? Now you understand the mythical conditions that you have to understand to bring to reality. Not us. There is no blueprint. There is no fixed conditions. Every soul is unique, and every condition, time and place and position is unique. And you are the one who decided. You are the one, through the dimension of the soul, and the soul of physicality will create that physicality. Now you understand what I told you many times. Live by ethos of Mitra, as your soul and soul of physicality cannot lie to each other, because if they do, you end up with a cancer. And this cancer this time is you as a nomad in the universe. Now you understand how the ethos of universe works. Because as a soul level, connected to the soul of Creator, thou shalt not lie. The soul of physicality plays, and thou shalt lie. You have to teach this guy, we play the God's game, not man's game. Then you understand how you have to process, how you have to proceed, how you have to come to the point of interaction of the field of the soul of them. I hope, my sincere hope is I open a door into your life and I gave you indication and physicality that you can check. In so many ways, by the structure of the physicality of your body, you can tell how close you are in the soul level and the soul of physicality to transmute. There is a sign, there is a way for you to understand by looking at the structure of physicality yourself to see how close you are to the point of transmutation. It doesn't matter how you feel you are. You cannot take the cake out of the oven if it's not ready. Even though it looks cooked outside, but it's raw inside. Now you understand. Now you put it this way. I gave you the maggraph systems. Use it to understand. Use it to create a condition to understand. As I said to a knowledge seeker, next time when you get a maggraph, instead of plugging it into the wall, plug it into your brain. And see you get more out of it than what you tried to save a few dollars on the wall. And this is what I always told you. Connect to the fields, not plug into the fields. Of interaction of all the coils with the numbers which you have created maggraph system out of connects you more or less all the field spectrum of the universe. But you don't have the knowledge, you cannot understand. To you is still, is the right turn, is the left turn, is this 41 turn or 40 turns? It's one human and so many hundreds of turns, fields, left, right, up, down, and every other, and the central field cord of the universe. What I've given you as a maggraph gives you entry for transmutation into the realm and dimensions of the universe. If your soul of physicality and the soul do not lie to each other, or be there, I want to transmute, but I want to get the electricity bill as well. Stick to your electricity bill. Be a citizen of this planet. You cannot lie to it. Look at the structure of the magnet. The three kings. Look at the rings of the magnet. One inside the other. Capable at each level to be correct and not to be correct. Then find out how you have sat on the three kings that the Jews celebrate, and you are given free and you suffer. Now you understand. Now maybe you understand. You think good, you connect to the bottom level or do you connect to the top level? You talk good, you connect the top and the bottom together, and you act good. Your physicality is a manifestation of your position. Then you understand. You can talk good, think good, but act wrong. Cha-chung. You're going nowhere. Because you cannot cheat between the two. They are aware of the truth within you. You have to accept the responsibility of the three in the correct way to hit the jackpot. And then you have to get all the strength in every turn correct. Emotion of sadness, emotion of joy, emotion of stealing, emotion of blah blah. In every coin, every turn, every ring, every level. And if you get all that right, you reach the feel the strength of the creed. I don't think I could explain in much more clarity the purpose of the magraphs. Is your tester. Don't plug it into the wall. Understand it works in conjunction with the work of your own life. How many of you have made the magraphs and laced it with the energy of yourself? Then putting amino acid and God knows what in the center of it, in a bowl outside it, and soak it in different ganses. One day, mankind will laugh at huge knowledge seekers that he really played with them. He could have told them from the beginning what is going on, but till you don't try, you don't know. You don't understand. Now, you are trying. You have no choice. You have to understand. Understand the totality of the work of your own soul and the soul of physicality. And stay correct in all time with all lines. And then you see, never steal, always ask. And never think is your right. If you've been around me, you always know I always ask. Doesn't matter what. Because when it's given, it carries that soul for elevation. Now you understand the totality. Now you understand the game played by you, by your soul and soul of physicality at the same time, place, and position. I hope today I open your eyes in what is about to come, what you need to do to be, and how you come in conjunction and connection with each other. Tomorrow, when you join us, if you have a maghreb system, leave it in the room next door. Make sure you don't sit in the room with a maghreb in it. Because in the next sessions, I'll show you how to use maghreb, and your soul will teach you where you're going wrong. Don't bring it with you in tomorrow, and make sure you're nowhere near a maghreb set. Because you will experience a new cycle of life. And don't say, I imagine I went. You imagine you went, but now you have the capability of the physical manifestation of yourself in the dimension of energy. Let's see how many of you will enjoy the trip tomorrow, and how many of you will go through what are called the barrier of the transmutation and transfer. Thank you very much for today. And as I said, we join the soul teaching, the cosmic rays, the maghreb system, And everything else we have taught you in the past. Now it's all coming to the same pot to cook, to make the soup ready to eat. All depends what fire you put under it. And in a way, does it need a fire? Or it just needs essence of understanding.